This camp in Cameroon is home to nearly 50,000 people who fled violence across the border in Nigeria. Naomi's one of them. She was kidnapped by the Islamist group Boko Haram just days after her baby was born and spent 2 months in captivity before escaping. She says as long as you pretended to convert to Islam, they didn't harm you.
We stayed and prayed with them, but we were playing tricks on them. What we saw was that they'd cut your throat if you disobeyed, and especially if you were a man, they'd cut your throat if they didn't like you and drink your blood.
The militants took Naomi to a cave in the Mandara Mountains, on the border between Nigeria and Cameroon. As the threat has become regional, so is the response. 5 African countries are taking part in the fight against Boko Haram with support from American troops.
We're with the BIR troops, the Rapid Intervention Brigade. They've really been at the forefront of the fight against Boko Haram here.
This small village on the border with Nigeria was attacked last month. Dozens of Boko Haram insurgents shot into the air and looted shops. In this war, tactics are changing. Now, they say Nigeria's offensive is pushing desperate militants across the border to resupply.
Throughout 2014, they used to carry out huge attacks with vehicles and heavy weapons. And we have no more such attacks.
And why haven't you yet been able to then fully defeat Boko Haram?
Because very often they are involved in the population, so you don't know who is Boko Haram. There are people you live with in the daylight, but in the night they turn to terrorists.
And it's here, in the covered maze of Maroua's market, that it's difficult to tell who's who. Just this summer, suicide blasts killed at least 20 people in the region's biggest city.
There were 2 suicide attacks here in Maroua on the same day. A young girl who was standing about where I'm standing now was wearing a large dress and a belt full of explosives that she detonated, killing 17 people.
Local policemen investigated the attacks. They say the use of young girls is becoming an alarming trend.
The little girls wear explosives, but they don't know what they are carrying. When we ask them, they say they don't know what is in the belts. So there must be someone else next to them detonating the explosives.
Boko Haram has been weakened in the last few months, but it is resilient. Eyewitnesses have told the BBC some militants are blending in with refugees to cross the border, while thousands of others are reorganizing in huge caves inside the Mandara Mountains. This is a new phase in the war against Boko Haram, and African armies will need to adapt. More than before, it will be about cross-border collaboration and gaining support from local people. Maud Julian, BBC News, Maroua, Northern Cameroon.